If you use Warp's free plan right now, your private data is flowing to their server. Your commands, your config, your agents.md files, and the big "we just went open source" announcement everyone's clapping about right now doesn't actually fix anything. It's actually part of the same playbook. Here's what I mean. Warp opened the lobby this week. The vaults stay locked, however, and the mailbox in the lobby still ships everything to the landlord. Same CEO told me 5 years ago he would never open source this, and same CEO opened this on Tuesday, which is yesterday. The reason isn't the philosophical reason. It's economics. Once you see it, you'll see the same exact pattern in 3 other companies in the last year. My name is Daniel Jindil. I used to run an AI info business that questions my morals every single day, and eventually I had to quit. That's why I read the licenses before I tell you what's safe in there. All I'm asking for is a comment. The comment section is really fun to watch for me, so let's get into it. November 2021, a user files an issue on Warp's GitHub. The line he wrote aged really well. He said, "I don't want the rug pulled out from under me after I learned to depend on something as essential as a terminal." Quick translation in plain English, a terminal is a black window where developers type commands instead of clicking buttons. It's the most important tool a developer uses every day. So this guy is saying, hey, if I'm going to live in your app for the next 5 to 10 years, I need to know it won't disappear or change on me. That's why he wanted the Warp to be open source 5 years ago. Open source just basically means the code is publicly, anyone can read it, copy, fork it. If the company dies, the tool keeps living in there. So Warp CEO replied, however, his name is Zach Lloyd, built a real product there. His answer was very honest. He said, open source is a one-way function. Once you are open source, you can't really go back there. In plain English, we're a startup with VC money. Investors want returns. If we open this up and a bigger company copies us, we die. So no. Which was a fair answer back in 2021. Then 5 years happened. 5 years later, every year users came back to the same exact thread. They asked again. The answer always were reviewing it, right? By 2024, the comments shifted. People stopped asking. They just started leaving. I'm switching to Ghosty. I'm switching to open code, something like that. Like, won't use closed source. It's just too much of a risk for them. So last Tuesday, April 28th, 2026, same exact thread, same CEO, he opens it, he responded back, and here's the part that I think is really important. He explains why. He says, and I'm quoting him directly, our revenue comes from AI, orchestration, and cloud features, not terminal. So which means in plain English, the money used to live in the app on your computer, now it lives upstairs, up in the cloud, up in the agent platform. The terminal itself isn't like really where the business is anymore. So they opened the part that no longer makes them money, and they kept the part that actually does make them money. So same person, opposite answer. The thing that changed wasn't his philosophy, it was where the money actually lives. If this was just Warp, it would be a hell of a story, but it's not just Warp. Cal.com, which is a scheduling company, open source for many years, 2 weeks ago, they closed their main code. Their CEO compared open source code to handing out blueprints to a vault. The reason given? AI security threat. Redis, database popular for fast lookups, flipped their license to a stricter ones in 2024. The community got really angry. They forked it, made a new project called Valky, and major clouds backed Valky instead, and Redis lost the market. 3 different companies, 3 different moves. Warp, they opened it, Cal.com closed, and Redis flipped. Same destination, your data, their moat. A moat is what protects a business from competitors, the fence around the money. Some companies open the lobby to capture you, some close the doors to trap you. Either way, the vault stays locked. Now, let me show you what's actually flowing out here. Warp's own privacy docs, I'm not pulling this from a hot take, this is own website right now. The exact line, telemetry must be enabled to use AI features on the free plan. Telemetry is just a fancy word for data your software sends back to the company. That's it. So in plain English, if you are a free user and you want to use the AI feature that Warp provides, you have to leave the data collection on. It's not something that you can toggle on. It's a requirement if you're on a free plan. And paid users can turn off. Free users cannot. Privacy is a feature you have to pay for nowadays. Now, what's actually in that data? Let me show you. So I set up a fake project on my machine, made up a company called Acme, brought an agents.md file, which in plain English, agents.md file is a file in your project that tells AI agents how your project works. Things like The build command is this, the deploy command is that, our internal API is at this folder, at this path, at this address, the database password is over this, and basically a map of your project written for an AI to read. And I put fake but realistic stuff in mine. Fake internal endpoint, fake AWS region, fake database host on an internal company server. Then I asked Warp's agent to summarize my project. Watch what happens here. Warp's agent opened the file, read every line, internal endpoint, deployment nodes, AWS region, database host. This is fake data I made up for this video, but if it were real, it already let my machine. There's a security firm called SpeedScale. Last week, they did a deeper test on Warp. They captured the actual network traffic. What they found is worse than what I just showed you here. Every command you run gets logged, every single one. Yes, even commands that contain credentials. Warp says they have a system to catch and read DAX secrets, but credential patterns and shell outputs are just too varied to catch reliably. Your entire agents.md file gets shipped on every AI request as a binary blob you can't easily inspect. All your saved AI skill files, every recipe you've taught your tools, those go in there as well. This is the awe moment, I think. Not like this is scary. Awe is when you realize the system was working a different way the whole time and you didn't know about it. This is how the system actually works. It's been just hiding in plain sight from you. Now, Warp's defense for all this is very interesting. They say the future of coding is agents writing code, humans just spec and review, so opening the client is fine because the value isn't in the code anymore. It's in the orchestration, in the cloud, in the agents. Half of that is true. Like half of it, I think, is in marketing. Let me show you the data here. There's an independent research lab called METR. They ran a study in 2025. 16 experienced developers, real tasks, real code bases, have used AI tools, half did not. The result, the AI users were 19% slower here. But here's the kicker. After the study, they asked the developers how fast they thought they had been. The developers said they thought they were 20% faster. So the actual gap between perception and the reality is almost 40% here. The AI made them slower while making them feel faster. I think it's almost same as like ever since this whole AI thing blew up, it's everywhere. Now, people telling us that because AI is here, we don't have to work as much anymore. In fact, I work more. And some people do say the exact same thing. Because AI is here, because the productivity goes up, their workload becomes much more than before, because they can take on more, right? There's a different study from a developer analytics company called UpLevel, which 800 developers, they found AI users introduced 41% more bugs into their pull request. A pull request is just a request to add new code to a project, the standard way developers contribute. So more code shipping out, more bugs going in. Basically, my take on this is agents are very real. The agents will write everything and humans just review. Marketing, I think that's marketing, and that part is not exactly real as of now, at the moment. What actually happens is the bottleneck moves from writing code to reviewing code, which means the value moves too, from the local app on your machine up to the cloud, to the orchestration, to the data. That's the actual reason Warp opened the lobby, because that the agents are just magic. It's more of that the money moved upstairs and the lobby wasn't paying rent anymore. So what do you do about it? I'm not gonna tell you what tool you need to use, because tools change all the time. I'm switching off all the time as well. But there's a pattern that does not change at all. 3 questions you can ask yourself before you switch to anything, which one, where does my data actually go? Not the marketing answer, like the technical answer. If they cannot tell you in plain English, that's probably the answer here. Number 2 is, can I see the destination myself? If their docs hide the endpoint and their network log doesn't actually show it, you're not the customer. You are more of an inventory for them. And last one, 3, am I paying enough that they're not selling me as the product? Free plans aren't free. They're paid in data. That might be fair trade for you. Just know that you made it. It's like same as all using Google Maps, right? Google Maps is being free. Somebody made it. Somebody spent $1 billion, shot it off to the sky to make it free for us. In fact, we're paying in data. Anyway, so these 3 questions work for terminals. They work for code editors. They work for AI agents. They work for anything that touches your private project files. I'm not saying don't use Warp. They're a great company. I use them. Real Terminal is a real product. So great. But some people will look at the trade-off and say, yes, fair deal. That's a real answer. I'm saying make the trade with your eyes open. So Warp opened the lobby. They didn't open the data model. That's a line. that's the video. Why don't you comment below which question hit you the hardest? The where does my data go one, or the can I see the destination one, or the am I paying it one? Whichever question get the most votes, I'll do a deep build on that one as a video on it next, because that's how our channel runs. You ask, I build, we all learn. See you in the next video.